happened.
Donald Trump survives an assassination attempt.
Look what happened.
Shooter gunned down within seconds. US Secret Service in the line of fire. Series of lapses led to a near fatal incident. Repeated security lapses put Donald Trump in the line of fire. Lapses in Trump's security is our top focus on India First. The United States is in a churn after an assassination bid on former US President Donald Trump at Butler, Pennsylvania. Both the Secret Service and the Pennsylvania State Police are directly in the line of fire after a shooter managed to fire multiple rounds from a rooftop near Trump's rally, injuring the Republican candidate and the former US President. A firefighter was killed trying to protect his family, and 2 others were injured. But the big question remains, how was the shooter able to access the roof so close to the former president's rally and fire multiple rounds despite the locals there alerting the police about his presence? We get to more about the latest in investigations.
Take a look at what happened.
Former US President Donald Trump narrowly escaped death after a shooter opened fire at him during an election rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday. Trump sustained a minor injury in his right ear and was seen clutching his bloodied ear as US Secret Services surrounded him and escorted him off the stage. A day after the assassination attempt on Trump, the Federal Bureau of Investigation named 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks as the suspect who was shot dead. The attacker was armed with a semi-automatic AR-15 gun.
This evening we had...
The FBI says it'll probe Trump assassination attempt as an act of domestic terror, even as motive of the attack is yet to be identified.
Take a look at what happened.
Trump thanked law enforcement agencies and said that God prevented the unthinkable. The Republican leader went on to say that he loved his country and that it is important to stay united. Trump is in Milwaukee in the US to be a part of a crucial Republican convention where he will be formally named as the presidential candidate. Former First Lady of America Melania Trump spoke out for the first time after the shooting. She condemned the assassination attempt and urged Americans to set aside political differences to consider leaders as humans with families. President Joe Biden, in his address to the nation after the shooting, called for a lowering of temperature in politics.
Last night, I spoke with Donald Trump. I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering, and we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job.
Take a look at what happened.
The images of Trump's fist pump right after the shooting has rallied his voters and donors. The incident could help Trump bolster the lead he already enjoys over Biden in popular ratings. Bureau Report, India Today.
4 US presidents have been assassinated. Several US presidents and candidates have been in the line of fire. One would expect that the Secret Service, Homeland Security, and the state police would have its act together. They would have their house in order and they would follow standard operating procedures. But at Butler, Pennsylvania, according to initial reports, not one SOP was followed effectively. For example, the shooter got an easy access to the rooftop near Trump's Pennsylvania rally at Butler. Now, this was barely 150 meters away from the podium where the former US president was speaking. Reports suggest that this was outside the Secret Service security perimeter. But this wasn't outside the Pennsylvania State Police security perimeter. They should have secured every high ground. They failed to do so and raises serious questions both about the size of the perimeter and, of course, the effort to sweep and secure the rally location. An eyewitness after the incident insisted that he had spotted the shooter going to the rooftop with a rifle in his hand moments before this attack. The eyewitness has gone on record to say he even alerted officers on ground. He insists that he was ignored, his warning was ignored, and disastrous consequences followed. Listen in.
We're pointing at them. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on. You know, we're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. You know, he's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this, 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see.
And this does indicate that there was very poor coordination between the Pennsylvania State Police and the Secret Service. Now, there's another video that's viral on social media where a person is recording a video and he's shouting, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. And the crowd starts running in panic. Within seconds, gunshots are heard. But when an eyewitness, when an onlooker can see that there's a shooter with a weapon, what were the Pennsylvania State Police personnel doing? What were the Secret Service personnel doing? And what were the counter-sniper personnel doing? If a common man could see it, why could they not see a thing?
He's got a gun!
Stay under here.
He's got a gun!
Stay under here.
He's got a gun!
Now, some reports from the United States of America seem to indicate that the Secret Service are criticizing the Pennsylvania State Police for not securing the area around the perimeter. The immediate perimeter was the responsibility of the Secret Service. The area around was the responsibility of the Pennsylvania State Police, including rooftops in the neighborhood from where the podium or the former president could be targeted. This is standard operating procedure world over, and this was not done with that is dominating high ground. According to Secret Service officials, the agency was only responsible for the rally grounds. The Pennsylvania State Police were tasked with securing the surrounding areas, including old rooftops, and they failed. Now, according to reports from the US, the shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, was seen acting suspiciously near the rally metal detectors. So here is a potential shooter spotted with a rifle moving around suspiciously near the rally ground, near the checkpoint, and yet he wasn't detained. The report seems to indicate that instructions were issued on the police radio, on the wireless, to keep an eye on him. The Secret Service were taken in the loop. They too were informed. And yet, he was able to climb the rooftop of that single storage structure, set up his rifle, and then target the former US president. All this while, the Secret Service were there, the Pennsylvania State Police were there, the eyewitnesses were there, and yet he managed to fire multiple rounds before he was neutralized. The Republicans are now questioning the competence of the Secret Service. A video capturing the actions of female Secret Service agents during the incident has gone viral, drawing widespread criticism, at least in the social media. And we'll show you that footage. Watch this very carefully. It shows one of the agents repeatedly failing to put her sidearm in the holster. Seen fumbling. Would you expect that of the Secret Service? And there are some, at least on social media, who are now questioning this 30% reservation and diversity in organizations like the Secret Service. The US Secret Service, tasked with protecting current and former US presidents, is part of the Department of Homeland Security. Right now, it's in the line of fire over that failed assassination attempt on the 45th US President Donald Trump and the presidential candidate. Secret Service Chief Kimberly Cheadle issued a statement and claimed they're working with probe agencies over the assassination bid and will participate in independent probe ordered by President Biden. But the fact of the matter remains, people on ground could spot the shooter minutes before the attack, and the Secret Service, whose only job is to protect the president and former president, failed to do so effectively. The glaring fault has led to severe criticism and calls for resignation of the head of the Secret Service. We get you more in this report.
Take a look at what happened.
The US Secret Service is confident of security plans at the Republican National Convention. Donald Trump is attending a day after the miraculous escape from assassination attempt.
It's been an 18-month process. We've worked together over that 18 months to develop operational security plans for any and all aspects of security related to this event.
But did it change within the last, has any change been made in the last 24 hours?
We're not anticipating any changes to our operational security plans for this event.
Take a look at what happened.
The FBI and the Milwaukee police are also backing up the Secret Service, now under severe criticism for the Saturday debacle. Experts believe the shooter of the assassination attempt had limited capability, knowledge and training, and yet he was close to killing him.
I would have expected that local law enforcement, at the direction of the Secret Service, would have been positioned on those rooftops. You allocate one to, more likely 2 to 3 officers to take positions along that rooftop or that roof line. But that apparently wasn't done.
We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking, I'm estimating here, I have no idea, but we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle, absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up
you
there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see.
The eyewitness account identifying the attacker minutes before points glaringly at the loopholes that the US Secret Service finds hard to answer at this point.
I don't know what to say, man. I'll tell you is, you know, if I walked up close to there with anything that Secret Service considered a problem, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now. But I don't know why a guy who we're standing there pointing out to police and Secret Service is crawling up the roof. Yes, right there by that tree. We were outside the security perimeter. But my question is, there's only a few buildings around here. Why is Secret Service not on every building here?
Well, there's a whole bunch of questions, I think, that are going to come.
There's a whole bunch of questions.
This individual was able to make an attack on the former president with limited capability, knowledge, and training. And that concerns me, because what if there was somebody that was really trained in how to assassinate someone?
A sniper employment officer who has led several combat missions in the past, identified as Blake Hall, called the attempt an easy shot on a social media post, as there were major security lapses due to which the shooter could engage Trump from at least 130 meters. Tesla maker and ally Elon Musk has called for the US Secret Service leadership to resign. So did Republican House of Representatives Speaker Mike Johnson, and added that other appropriate officials from the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI should appear for a hearing at the earliest. Many social media users and Trump supporters have pointed out the absence of drones at the campaign rally, that even experts believe could have kept a watch on buildings outside the security perimeter, but still close to the venue. Bureau Report, India Today.
There's now a massive blame game between the Republicans and the Democrats over the Trump assassination bid. The Republicans insist it's Biden's campaign painting Trump as a threat to democracy that triggered this toxic atmosphere and that environment all around. A similar war of words is playing out even in India, with the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party targeting the opposition, especially the Congress, for creating a toxic environment. We get you more in this report.
Take a look at what happened.
The Donald Trump shooting continues to reverberate across the globe. In America, the Republicans and Democrats are trading charges, accusing each other of creating the atmosphere that triggered the assassination bid. Republicans have immediately blamed the shooting on Democrats and Joe Biden, calling Trump a threat to democracy. Others have blamed the radical left for incessantly calling Trump a fascist or worse. In a TV ad that Biden's campaign released earlier this month, a narrator warned that the Supreme Court's recent ruling that Trump can't be prosecuted for official acts done during his presidency would allow him to rule like a king if he wins a second term.
The president can ignore the law, even to commit a crime, because Donald Trump asked them to. He's already led an insurrection and threatened to be a dictator on day one. Donald Trump can never hold this office again.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
In India too, it has triggered an explosive war of words, with the BJP accusing Congress MP and leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi of inciting violence against Prime Minister Modi. It even raked up the security breach during Narendra Modi's visit to Punjab's Firozpur in 2022. The BJP claims that Congress is creating conditions for political violence in India by calling the Prime Minister a dictator and anti-democracy.
कांग्रेस पार्टी की स्थिति ये है कि जब थोक में हार होती है तो रुलाई और जब फुटकर में जीत होती है तो धुलाई. फुटकर में थोड़ी बहुत कहीं जीत हो जाएगी तो फिर विरोधी राजनीतिक पार्टियों की धुलाई शुरू कर देंगे। तो इस तरह की रुलाई धुलाई जो है वो सियासी सेहत के लिए हानिकारक होती है, उनको समझना चाहिए।
The Congress has called the BJP's attack at Rahul Gandhi cheap politics and has accused the Prime Minister and the BJP of inciting hatred against its party leadership.
RSS is an organization which spreads hate. Congress is an organization which spreads love. We all know that Mr. Rahul Gandhiji's family members too, two of them, Indira Gandhiji as well as Rajiv Gandhiji, has been victim of political violence. He stands for love and affection, and these kind of fake news factories of BJP will be defeated.
Take a look at what happened.
In an extremely polarized world, will such rhetoric only create deeper divides in democracies? Bureau Report, India Today.
Donald Trump is being seen as a frontrunner in the US presidential race. He narrowly missed an assassination bid on Sunday. The bullet grazed past his right ear, and it's a miracle that he survived. He's cheated death. Now, amidst all this, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, or ISKCON, recalled Donald Trump's association with the Bhagwan Jagannath Rath Yatra, calling it a divine intervention that the president survived. How? We bring you more in this report.
Take a look at what happened.
Trumping death by a few millimeters. Donald Trump survived this fatal assassination bid, and it's nothing short of a miracle. Donald Trump turned his head a wee bit, and that ensured that the bullet, instead of ripping through his skull, hurt his ear. And now, Hindu religious group ISKCON also has said that it appeared to be a divine intervention which saved Donald Trump. ISKCON has claimed God's hand to Trump being alive today, citing a 1976 incident.
हम लोग सभी लोग बहुत ही आश्चर्यचकित हो गए जब सवेरे देखा किस तरह से डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प बाल बाल बच गए। आप देखेंगे कि मिली सेकंड में वो उन्होंने माथा घुमाया, जो बुलेट का जो डायरेक्शन था उनके एकदम मिडिल ऑफ द पीछे बैक के हेड में था, लेकिन जैसे ही उन्होंने सर हिलाया तो वो बुलेट उनका कान में छेद करते हुए निकल गया। तो सभी लोग बोल रहे हैं, इवन इंक्लूडिंग डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प, उनका सबसे पहला रिएक्शन जब आया तो उन्होंने कहा कि ये भगवान के कारण मैं बच गया, ये गॉड इंटरवेंशन है।
A young Trump back then, 48 years ago, provided a train yard for constructing Rath for the Yatra, and he did it for free. To date, ISKCON Bhakts remember this favor from the former president.
अगर वो जगह उस समय हमें नहीं मिलता तो शायद 1976 में ISKCON न्यूयॉर्क में रथ यात्रा शुरू नहीं कर पाता। तो 1976 में डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने जगन्नाथ रथ यात्रा को बचा लिया न्यूयॉर्क में, और 48 वर्ष के बाद जब पूरा विश्व रथ यात्रा का उत्सव मना रहा है, आप देख रहे हैं कि कल भी रथ यात्रा 9 दिन का फेस्टिवल होता है, आज उल्टा रथ है, तो उस समय रथ यात्रा के उत्सव के समय जब डोनाल्ड ट्रंप को जरूरत पड़ी तो जगन्नाथ ने रेसिप्रोकेट किया।
Divine interaction, luck or sheer fate. Donald Trump is clearly lucky to be alive, going by what a close shave it was. Bureau Report, India Today.
The assassination attempt on the 45th US President Donald Trump has shaken the world. US, of course, has a long history of attacks on its leaders. From Abraham Lincoln to Donald Trump, US has been infamous for attacks on presidents. 4 US presidents have been killed in office, many others targeted. Like Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan, some have survived. This report gets you that long and troubled history that US presidents have had.
US Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump escaping an assassination bid. Escaping with the bullet grazes on his right ear when a shooter fired at will at his Pennsylvania rally. The bid on Trump's life is only the latest in a series of gun attacks on US heads of states, sitting or former. US saw its most infamous assassination when over 1.5 centuries ago, President Abraham Lincoln was gunned down. Lincoln was shot by slavery sympathizer John Wilkes Booth, a member of one of America's most renowned families of actors. Incumbent presidents James Garfield and William McKinley were shot and killed 20 years apart in 1881 and 1901. But it was President John F. Kennedy's killing in 1963, seen on screens across the world, which made the world numb. His accused killer was Lee Harvey Oswald, a former US Marine who had embraced leftist ideology and defected for a time to the Soviet Union. Kennedy's brother Robert, too, was killed while campaigning for the top office in 1968.
My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
In 1981, then US President Ronald Reagan, who was hurt but escaped death. The shooter was 30-year-old John Hinckley. Hinckley said that he wanted to shoot President Reagan to impress actress Jodie Foster. US, despite being the oldest democracy and a superpower, has often been unable to keep its heads of states safe. Bureau Report, India Today.
So investigations are underway and we will continue to track this story to get you the latest, but that is all I have for you on this special broadcast. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.